And we are the Other People Show. I'm Adam,
I'm Jake.
and we've got a great show for everyone today. This is season 3, episode 4 of the Other People Show. And so, Jake, how's it been going? I haven't talked to you since yesterday.
Since yesterday, yeah. Actually, it's been a good week. The last week was a bit of a rough week. Um, as an introvert, you can only take so many weeks of being by yourself. But this week's actually been pretty good. The weather it's snowed every single day this week.
Every
but
day?
Every day. But you know what? It hasn't bothered me one bit because it's like, who cares? This is the world that we live in. So I changed my background today because I just wanted something a little bit brighter and a little bit more fun than I've been doing before. Yeah.
I like it. Now, I will say this. You have Cherry to your right. I do have the actual Cherry doll. It's about this big.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. And I have a Pee-wee that you can set in Pee-wee, you can set Pee-wee into Cherry as well. And you pull the string on the back of Pee-wee, and he says some phrases. So, and Pee-wee's about that tall.
My sister has a Michael Jackson that's about that tall too, that she sits on the shelf.
Really?
Yeah. It's it doesn't have a string that you pull. But she has one of those Elf on the Shelves. Somebody gave her an Elf on the Shelf.
Yeah.
And so they just kept it up because it was like someone gave it to them and they felt like they just kind of had to have it up all the time. So then they never put it away. They went to her husband's parents' house and went running through the attic, and they found this little Michael Jackson doll. So now they've replaced the Elf on the Shelf with Michael Jackson. So Michael Jackson sits on the shelf until November rolls around, and then the elf goes back up on the shelf.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Now, one time, Terry and I, we went to a caverns near Roanoke, and they had a little shop, and they had the Michael Jackson figure. It was about this tall with a red jacket from Beat It, I guess. But he had on blue jeans. Somebody had traded out the pants that Michael Jackson doll had and put blue jeans on him.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever met. Has Michael Jackson ever worn blue jeans before?
He has blue jeans on in one music video called, I think it's called They Don't Care About Us. They Don't Really Care About Us. It was from the 95 album History. It had like the greatest hits plus the songs like You Are Not Alone and Scream with Janet Jackson. Yeah. I think it was on that album, I think. So you've had a good week then?
But yeah, it's been a pretty good week. How about you?
It's not been too bad. It's kind of been, for me, it's not been a bad week. It's just been kind of a slow week. Yesterday went pretty quickly. And today so far has went pretty quickly, but usually Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for me drag. It drags. I've been watching old NBA basketball games. I watched one yesterday as well. Orlando Magic versus Houston Rockets.
Wow.
It was Orlando Magic that had Shaquille, Anthony Hardaway. It had those guys, Muggsy Bogues, and then Houston had Akeem Olajuwon. He was on there. So I watched that.
Back. So Alex, my wife, she's from Orlando, and her mother always, whenever we talk sports, which she knows nothing about sports, she doesn't ever claim to know anything about sports, but whenever I bring up sports, she goes, I got on the elevator one time, I think it was at the hospital in Orlando, with Shaquille O'Neal.
So she says
every time. That's the story. That's her sports story. Like my mom has one sports story that she tells. Alex's mom has one sports story, but it is a pretty epic one. I mean, getting on the elevator with Shaquille O'Neal, not many people can.
Hello.
Exactly.
What's your mom's sports story then?
She Joe Namath is hers. Yeah. Where was she? She went somewhere. Oh, she was with my dad, and they went to a baseball game because my dad was a photographer, so he went to a lot of baseball games. And I think it was at the All-Star game when it was in D.C. back in like the 70s, 60s, back when the Senators were there. And he left
70s.
her in the press box when he went down to go
Probably
film.
70s.
Yeah, something like that. So he left her in
Yeah.
the press box, and then she like had some conversation with Joe Namath, and then that was it. That's her whole story.
Now that's not bad either.
Whenever we play Trivial Pursuit, she has one sports figure for every sport. So Joe Namath is football. I can't remember her hockey one, but it's like the most obvious old sports figures.
Would it be like one of the really popular ones?
I want to say like Bobby. No, before that would be mine.
Oh, before that? Wow.
Yeah, like is it Bobby Hull?
I've heard of him. I've heard of him.
I think that's who she uses for.
But I don't know much about hockey. I don't know.
Yeah.
I only know like 3 hockey players. So.
It's funny because like we never. I knew Wayne Gretzky and that was it. But when I moved to Detroit, people are like, "Oh yeah, do you go to any of the Red Wings games?" I was like, "Oh no, I'm not really much of a hockey fan." And they're like, "You're not a hockey fan?" I'm like, "We didn't have hockey where I came from. It's not cold down there 400 days a year." So, anyway.
Yeah, like almost every single day of the year. That's crazy. Yeah, I've only met. Do you know the basketball player Dominique Wilkins? He played for the Atlanta Hawks. I met him one time.
Where'd you meet him?
Bristol Mall. Bristol Mall.
He was just walking around?
No, they were doing some kind of a thing where they were doing like some kind of a challenge, and they had like these 2 little, like the miniature goals with like the miniature basketball, and you could like shoot. They're so it was like you played like a little tournament, and then whoever won got to play him. I didn't win. I made it to like the last round, but we all got to take a picture with him. So we got to do an individual picture, and then we did a group picture. But the individual picture behind us, they had the darkest background, the darkest Black Knight background, and he's a very dark-skinned man.
Oh no!
And even as a little kid, I'm like, why did they do this? But I have a Polaroid. It's of me and Dominique Wilkins, and you can barely see him.
Poor planning, people.
Very poor planning. But he seemed pretty nice, and that was
cool.
At Bristol Mall. So
I met I met JJ Redick one time. He's the only, which he's from Roanoke, but I met him in Roanoke. He was like, I was helping do a video or whatever. So anyway, that's the only NBA player I've ever met.
JJ Redick. He's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
So seems like we've both had a pretty good week. Are you working on anything as far as like projects go right now?
I am the movie that we shot, which seems like 15 years ago, but it's on I just actually posted some pictures on Instagram today on my Instagram, which is Jake Tell Stories. So that's in post. I'm waiting to hear back about that and to see the first cut. But for my directing class, I actually have to direct and shoot a movie this week. So I've written it about like appliances in my house since I can't leave my house. And then people are just kind of doing voices for it. So yeah. And then I'm writing. I have a feature that I'm going to try to finish by the end of this month, which so far that's going pretty well. And then I want to do a TV show pilot. I'm going to have to get you're going to have to teach me how to write TV, because I can write this pilot, but then I don't know what to do with beyond that, because I don't know how to put characters in multiple situations.
Right.
Like you do that all the time.